Welcome everybody. Hello. Oh, I am on. Hello. Hello, welcome to Christmas Church 2020. Bit of a different Christmas church for us. Normally we've disrupted you completely. We've got you out in the walkway with doing lots of craft and things. Believe me, we've still got craft installed, so you haven't quite escaped craft completely. As you can probably work out from your little goodies bag on your chair. My name's Lani. I'm going to be leading the worship part today, but really today is very much a team effort. Heather and Kylie and myself are the main team organising today, but there are lots of people that have been involved on lots of levels, and I'm very grateful for everybody. We've even tried to involve people from lots of different generations. The kids have had a go in organising and preparing some of the things that we're going to do today, so I'm kind of excited and a little bit out of my comfort zone because I'm not used to this style of doing Christmas church, so please bear with me if I seem a bit nervous. But I'm quite excited by what the next hour has in store for us. So welcome. Today is the Advent Sunday of Joy, and there will be lots of joy, and we'll be exploring it in lots of different ways for us. She's going to lead us in the words. Just go now. Yeah, that's okay. Just go. It's on.
We acknowledge that we meet on the lands of the Leto Mariner people who
occupied these lands for many centuries, and we pay our respects to the traditional owners and their elders, past and present. As people of God, we commit ourselves to seeking justice and reconciliation for all Australian people.
Last Sunday, a candle of hope was lit in this church. Today, on the second Sunday of Advent, we light a candle of joy. St. Paul tells us, "Rejoice in the Lord always. God coming to us is always a reason for joy."
Great. So light the candle. Yep. Just after we've lit them. Let Hamish light some down. You light the match. That's it. Yeah, that's it. And another one. And you want to light this one too? Oh, he's being a bit stubborn, isn't he? Yeah, that's it. Shake that one out. Okay. Can you say your line now?
Let us share God's joy with those we meet.
Thank you. I'll do you later. Thank you. Thanks, guys. All right. So, one of the first ways we're going to unpack joy is having a look at joy in creativity. So, you might notice some of these slides are from some of the previous Christmas churches that we've had, and you can notice like this slide is one of our boards that we've done up. So one of the reasons we do that activity is it's a corporate activity, so lots of people are involved in the making of something that ends up being pretty awesome, and it's a particular task to try and get boys, young boys involved, hammering stuff. And mind you, people of all generations enjoy this task. So you can see a couple at the back, and in the video you'll see some of the others that we've done. And this is this year's version. So let's have a look at our first little video. Is my husband Mark, who makes the boards, and he gets more creative every year with them. I just say what word I want on it and let him loose, and
building a project like making this sign, it's very satisfying and a great pleasure for me to be able to turn something which is just an image in my head, some sketches on paper, into a physical project which has been built in front of my eyes with my hands, and then at the end of it to see it being completed and something which people can appreciate, enjoy, take pleasure in. But I think I get the most pleasure of anybody in having built something.
So, so for people that aren't familiar with emojis, that is the emoji for joy. So, pardon? It looks like crying, but it's actually tears of joy. So that is the modern day emoji for joy. So if there are some people here, younger children, we have got the nails and everything ready to go. So if you want to come and have a go, we're going to make sure we clean things down and have do everything properly. But if the younger people want to come and have a go, Kylie's over here supervising, so you can have a hammer some nails in, and we can get that strung up maybe by the end of today. All right, another way that people are creative is with cooking, and we're going to see that a number of times today. Here's a video that Hamish has put together. One of his favourite things about Christmas church has always been the icing of the cookies. So here's a video about that.
I like Christmas because you can come together and see everybody, but this time I get to taste Mummy's cookies. Thank you, Mummy. Yum.
So Hamish edited that film himself. He put it together with a bit of help from his dad, Mark. So that was Hamish's first film editing effort, so I think he did a pretty good job. Thank you, Hamish. Doug and Lucy, would you like to come up? So another obviously big creative venture that this church does is the Christmas play. And I thought Doug and Lucy are often behind the scenes with this. I'd like to unpick their experience of joy while doing the Christmas play. So I think Doug's got a few slides, and he's going to tell us a few stats about the Christmas play. Off you go.
Oh, thanks, Lani.
Oh, that was on, I think.
Thanks, Lani. Would you believe we have been doing the Christmas play for 6 years? This is number 6 that is about to happen next week. So we thought we might just give you a quick whiz back down memory lane over the last 5 productions and show you a little bit of the inspiration and behind the scenes work that goes into it.
Actually, sit down here.
Yeah, so here's the first one in 2015, and if you look carefully you'll see Emmy and Rosemary in the building at the moment, and Alia and Sarah, and they don't look much like that anymore, strangely enough. And next one, Here's 2016. They've all grown a bit, and Mr. Camel has made an appearance. 2017, around the manger. 2018. This time we went to Egypt, fleeing from Herod's soldiers. Last year, 2019. Here we are with a nice action-packed finale. Next one, Rosemary. So the backdrop's been a big part of our play. The original inspiration was this photograph of the night sky over Bethlehem. So having found that photo, the next step was to paint a sketch to prove to myself that I could actually do something, a reasonable reproduction of that. And then we got started, next one, on the lounge floor at home, and basically used every square inch of floor space we could find. Next one. And over a series of evenings we laid down the painting. Next one. And it got bigger and bigger, and finally it was finished after a lot of effort.
How many hours did you
Lucy's worked out how many hours we spent on this. I'll give her a microphone. I might sit down since there's a chair here.
Okay, so this one, I have to say I'm not entirely sure how many hours we spent on that particular one, but later on Doug's got another slide of the shopfront scene that we did, and that one took us 200 hours. I remember that one very clearly because I thought we were never going to get it finished.
Yeah, so we have endeavoured to involve as many people from the congregation as we can, and spilling out beyond the congregation in many circumstances. We've got the Swift family here who've been helping us the last couple of years. Next slide, Rosemary. Yes, and this is the third backdrop. You can see the city of Alexandria in Egypt in the back there, with which I had to put in the pyramids and the lighthouse and those sort of things just for fun. Next slide. As I said, we tried to involve lots of people. We even got Caroline in as this sort of Mary Poppins figure who magically took our youth back in time to the original story. Where's Caroline? Is she here today? Yeah, no, we really enjoyed having her work with the children. That was great. And my girls have been really keen on ballet over the years, especially Rachel. And I've put a big investment into ballet, so I was very pleased to be able to reap some reward for it. You can see Rachel nicely on point as an angel there. Next one, Rosemary. Yeah, so 5 years of plays means we've had 5 interpretations of Mary. You may not even recognise Caitlin Knowles there from 5 years ago, followed up by Rosemary, and then Esri Nichols, and then Rachel, and then Alia. Great job last year, Alia. We really liked your interpretation. Alia's sitting there in the second row. I was about to say trying to hide, but no, she's waving proudly, as she should.
Oh, Josh did a great job as Joseph.
I didn't put a set of Josephs together, but Josh, who is trying to hide under his hoodie, starred as Joseph a couple of times and did a great job. Next one. One of the highlights of the show has always been the baddies. So, what's his name? Zach. The first baddie was Zach Nichols, who was playing King Herod, and then on another show you can see Alia absolutely bawling out Josh there in her role as Caesar, telling Josh as the governor that he better get out there and count the population for the census, since he didn't actually know how many people were supposed to be being taxed. Next one. And then last year, Francis Day did an excellent, completely different interpretation of King Herod, escorted by 2 of the Swift girls there as their soldiers.
Not sure. Where's Rebecca?
Next.
Around here.
Yep.
Oh, she's down there.
All right, so I've always tried to draw inspiration from different places, and this is one of my favourite images of the Three Kings, sitting in their astronomy somewhere looking at the stars. So I was quite pleased with how much our interpretation of that actually looked like that image. Yep. And of course, Mr. Camel. Mr. Camel's had a number of names. He's been known as Duncan, which was an in-joke concerning Josh Cocker's bull, and the surname of our minister before last. But after that we went for something with a little bit more bite, and we called him Old Dung Breath. Yeah, so I drew inspiration from this photo that I found. The next step was to do a drawing and scale it to the size that would fit our camel driver. And many of you will remember James. James Cook? Yeah, who with Michelle
Hughes.
used to be with here. And James Hughes, sorry. Yeah, and Michelle's surname was Cook. Yeah, so having scaled the photo to fit James in it and then worked out a frame, we started making it. Here's Lucy putting cardboard over the wire frame. Next one. Here he is. He's got most of his coat, but his neck is still a bit skeletal at this point. Next one. And yes, I was very pleased about how he turned out and how I could get his mouth to move and roll his eyelashes. Next one. And here he is on stage. And yes, James was our first excellent camel driver, and his shoes have been well filled by David Swift. So come next week and see the camel ride again. Next one, Rosemary.
And just so you know, the camel took us every evening for about a month to build. It was quite a lot of hard work.
So here we are. Well, this is one of my favourite shots of the whole show coming together at the end with the camel admiring the baby Jesus, and the shepherds and the three kings have brought their gifts, and we're just about to roll into the finale of the show.
All right, so unbelievable amounts of time and energy obviously have gone to this over the years. Why do you keep doing this despite this immense load?
So we love the creative process, and we love the fact we get to do it as a family. But what we also love is that for a moment in time, with a bit of humour, we can take people back and they can spend some time just focusing and enjoying the birth of Jesus Christ again. So, you know, that really encourages us.
Of course, anyone who's been involved in amateur theatre will know that to do amateur theatre you have to be certifiable. It's just a prerequisite.
Yeah.
So, is there joy in this process for you then?
Absolutely, yeah. No, it's, I don't think we could do it every year if we didn't have that joy there to keep us going.
Excellent. So is it something that you have to keep consciously choosing, or it just happens in the process?
That we keep consciously choosing? Yes, I do think we keep we do choose to do this because for us it's really important to, when we have the cast with us, one of the things we really love is the fact we get that interaction with the cast, but we get to take them deeper into the characters of the people that they're playing. So they get to learn about them and think about who those people were, what they thought, what they felt, maybe, the situations they landed up in. And so every year, new people get to think about that, and they take that with them into the future. And so that for us is really special. And so it's something that we choose to do on a yearly basis.
Right. Well, I think that really is great that you're able to share some of that more background story to the play. So thank you, and thank you for all the energy that you do year after year. So thank you for sharing that with us today. Now, I hope I'm brave enough for this next interview myself, and I hope these people are being very brave. Obviously, we're going to talk about some tough stuff now. Joy even when there's sorrow and grief. So this is Paula and Paula Hansen, and they've had a tough year. Do you guys want to tell us briefly some of what you've had to cope with?
Okay. This is okay? You can hear me? Okay. So 2020 has been a bit of a shocker of a year. Now, I know everybody knew there's a small little thing called a pandemic, which I'm a doctor, and that made life hard to start off with. Our kids went to Melbourne, which made life hard for us. We thought, oh, well, you know, we can handle that. And then just to make things really hard, both of my parents died, all within 12 months. And just to make it just a little bit harder still, I went to hospital last week and I couldn't walk. But anyway, that's another little story. I'm feeling better now. So it's been a horrible shocker of a year, 2020.
For many people, not just...
I know it's not just we're not the only people that have had a tough year, but it's been particularly tough.
So has there been joy within all that sadness and tough stuff?
Absolutely. So, I'm allowed to cry.
Absolutely. I've got a tissue too.
It was a privilege to be part of Grace and Trevor's life and to share that with them. And we were lucky that we planned on going on holidays and we couldn't. So we were here. Both times when we planned to go away overseas, which is something that we're lucky that we can do, they were cancelled because of the pandemic. So for us, the pandemic meant that we were here for Grace and Trev. And it was a joyous time. Many of you were at the funeral, were missed. But they'd had a wonderful life, and their funerals were celebrations of life, and they were joyous. I have a friend who said to me, I know I shouldn't say this, but Trevor's funeral was really wonderful. It was joyous because we're celebrating their life and we miss them, but it was joyous and we chose to see the joy in it.
Okay.
Yeah. Certainly it's a privilege to be with them at their final time, and that's something which I will cherish. Look, there was tough times, but everybody deals with things differently. But I think one of the take-home messages is there is some joy that you can get out of sadness, and it's very much how you look at it too. Certainly, listening to other people's stories about my parents was lovely. That gave me peace and that gave me joy to hear that. There was lots of laughter, talking to my family about various things that happened during their lives, I feel at peace really, even though it's been a tough year.
The cousins also said after their grandfather's funeral that they felt at peace. Having not been able to come to the funerals, 12 of the 13 grandchildren were on the mainland, but they said they felt at peace after Grace and Treason. We've also had joy. We've had both our daughters have got engaged this year, and Laura's planning on getting married in January. So I often think God gives us what we can cope with. I don't remember where I heard that, but there were times when that's what I thought. We were also lucky in that Paul's brother had to live with us. They were building a house. They sold their house and their house wasn't built. So with the whole of COVID, we had company in our home. There were the four of us. And it was something that we shared, so the four of us could do it together.
That was certainly a blessing to have my brother and his wife living with us when lockdown occurred, and so we weren't totally isolated. And that was really lovely, which is sad, but it was lovely that they were there when both my parents died.
And we could choose to be thankful and happy. We could choose to do that.
Yeah.
And we were thankful that we were here when so many people were stuck on the mainland and couldn't share in those things.
Yeah. So I think you can choose. Like I guess I could be sad and just keep talking about all the bad things, but I think you can choose to focus on the good things, and I think that's what Jesus wants us to do. Actually, not to keep rehashing bad things. It happens, and it is sad. I know people that can't sometimes get out of the quagmire, but it's a choice.
We're lucky that we have each other and that we have a faith that sustains us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, profound words. Thank you for sharing that with us. Very brave, and thank you for sharing that vulnerability with us. Let's thank them. Thank you. Yeah, don't fall down the stairs. And I do know that there are other people in maybe even in this room that have been touched by grief and sorrow this year, and I know this is something that touches us all. But I'm very grateful to Paul and Paula for being willing to come up here and share some of that with us. I thought we might have needed a little bit of light relief after that, so I have another video. This will make us have a little giggle.
So, what everyday moments bring you joy?
Everyday moments that bring me joy, seeing my grandchildren. I love it when I see my grandchildren.
And what occasions bring you joy?
The most joyous occasion of all is when a child is born, a baby. That is the most wonderful thing there is.
So thank you, Sarah, for putting the photos and video for that together. Colin, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to disclose this, but I believe he had a little blubber on the birth of all of his grandchildren, but probably most of us do, I assume. And of course, Advent is a time when a very special baby we are looking forward to the birth of a very special baby. So maybe just to have a quick chat to the person beside you. What everyday moments bring you joy? Have a quick think. What are the everyday moments that bring you joy? Have a quick word to the person beside you. Is anyone happy to call that out and share it with the group? Lots of everyday moments obviously bring joy. I can't bring people back. Anyone want to share? Anyone want to call out what their everyday moments are? Oh my goodness. Very sweet. Okay. A new day, a fresh start. Yep. Animals, pets, yes, they can bring joy. the silliness of kittens, yes. Yes, gardens, yes, yes. Gardens was one I would have liked to have talked about, the joy in nature. That's one I haven't covered today, but certainly there is a joy in gardens and nature for sure. Food, well yes, we featured food a bit too, haven't we? All right, great. Okay, it's time to sing again. Some people get joy out of singing. And I want to have a bit of fun today, and this next song is Around. We should know it all, I'm hoping. So I'm hoping to divide the church into two. Now this group, we're going to have to sing louder because I think there's more people on that side. So we're going to sing it all together once, and then this group will start. We are being led by the left-hand side of the singers, whereas this side of the church are being led by Heather and John's side. Okay, so we'll sing it all through once, and then twice is around. We up for it? All right. Okay, let's give it a go. So let's stand and sing. Lord, rise, and again I say rejoice. Rejoice in the Lord, again I say rejoice. Rejoice. Thank you. Okay, can I ask my last interviewees up, please, to the stage? Okay, I'm going to welcome Wendy and Nicole and Heather up to the stage now. This is a segment looking at I suppose social justice and acts of kindness and how that brings joy and hope. Oh, you guys can sit in the middle then, that'll work well. Now we'll have to sort of share this mic between you and Wendy. Are you able to use the handheld? Okay, so Heather and Wendy have some projects that they are part of, and Nicole, is the family, can't even read my own writing, family services manager at Uniting. So I suppose much of Nicole's work is a paid position, whereas these guys are doing volunteer stuff. Maybe Heather, can you start and just tell us briefly what it is that you're doing, what we're talking about here? I might need to move that towards you a bit.
So what I'm going to talk about is the Operation Shoebox, the Christmas shoeboxes that Wendy and I put together, but also a lot of people in the congregation, especially this year and the last couple of years, have put together. The slogan, or the logo, for the shoeboxes, coincidentally, is Good News, Great Joy. The good news refers to the discipleship program which is a 12-week lesson program that anyone that receives a shoebox gets invited to participate in, and that's where they learn about the gospel of Jesus. The great joy is the joy that it gives the children when you see their faces when they are given a box and they open that box. And sometimes, even though they're only simple things, what we consider are simple things in the boxes, there's school supplies, clothes, hygiene items that go into the box and toys that they can play with. Sometimes these boxes are the only gift that the children have ever received. And the joy on their faces when you see them in the videos and the photos, it's just amazing.
Are they going overseas or?
This year the Tasmanian boxes are actually going to Madagascar. For those that don't know where Madagascar is, it's an island nation off the east coast of Africa, and they are very poor economically. So it's amazing that the boxes, yes, they do go right around the world. In previous years, a lot of the Tasmanian and Australian boxes have gone around the Pacific nations, but this year they're actually being spread. And yes, there are, I can't remember how many countries, but there's a large number of countries around the world where the boxes are given.
Okay. Can I hold you there and move on to Nicole? And Nicole, if you could just give us a brief rundown of what your work involves.
So, as Lani said, I'm the Family Services Manager for Uniting, which is the mission arm of the Uniting Church. Around the state we have a lot of programs that centre on family services and community services, and in Hobart we have quite a strong presence in the emergency relief field. But it's my privilege to manage all of our family services programs. Everything centres on building strong parent relationships with their children. So some of you might have seen our new PIN and PIPS programs were featured on the ABC during the week, and those programs really reach out to young mums who by accident or by design have children when they're not much beyond being children themselves. And we also have our new PIN program, which is a really intensive program for mums who they're on the cusp of having child safety service involvement in their life, or they already have child safety service involvement, and the risk is that their children might be removed into out-of-home care. So our programs take a really therapeutic and for new PIN particularly, a long-term approach to really build mums' parenting skills and, more importantly, build the relationship between the parent and the child, which is really what inspires the parents then to keep building that relationship. And really, we just see some amazing transformations and families really turn their lives around. We have some failures as well. We see some kids who, for their safety, are removed into out-of-home care, and that's really hard. Really, really hard sometimes, especially because the heartbreaking thing is that most of our parents who come through our program have their own sad childhood stories, and it's really that perpetuating cycle that we see. So most of our families who come to our service aren't there because of their own, some are there because of their own choices, but many are there because of the circumstances that life's given them that they haven't been able to rise above.
Okay, thank you for that summary, Nicole. Wendy, can you tell us briefly what... do you want to use this one, actually?
This year I have done some Share the Dignity bags, and these are basically a backpack or a handbag that is filled with items that a woman escaping domestic violence might need. So there's products for your hair and your teeth and feminine hygiene and soap and deodorants, and then you can put in extra little things to make it more interesting. I write a note of hope that goes into the bag, and then they're dropped off at Bunnings during 1 week in late November. And it was lovely that so many people from our congregation gave me things or else did bags themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. So my question to each of you is, Is there joy for you in these things that you do?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yes. And how? Where and how is the joy?
For me, the joy is putting the boxes together. It's great fun after you've been shopping to pull out all the things in your lounge room, lay them all out, and pick things for people that you don't know. All you're picking is for an age group, but putting things into a box that you know is going to change someone's life. So for me, the joy is not only putting them together, but knowing that the box of things is going to a child that probably has never ever received anything, and knowing the joy that they are going to get when they open that box.
Thank you.
The short answer for me is yes, there's joy. There are lots of tears of happiness and sadness in our role, but you know, when I watched the ABC News article the other day, the family that was featured, when they came to us, it was a young mum whose child had been placed into out-of-home care, and it was hard to see what the hope could be for that family, and to have seen that family come back to us to feature in that story, and you know, the joy in Casey, and you know, it's the little things that don't seem like big things. Casey ran over to his mum at morning tea time and tugged on her shirt, and whereas, you know, previously when we first started working with them, he would have been invisible to her, she said to me, "Oh, just a sec," and she turned and met his needs, and I just had that moment there where I went, she's got it now, she's got it, and you know, she's got 2 more children, and they all have a piece of her attention and a piece of her love, and that's where I see the joy.
For me, the joy is interacting with Pilgrim people, for starters. The organisation, like Heather was saying, spreading things out, selecting what items might go in what bag or what backpack. I've been very blessed. I have a lovely husband, and I know that not everyone is fortunate enough to have that. And I should have mentioned that some of the Share the Dignity bags go to Uniting. So they're shared around the different charities, but it's lovely that some of them do go to Uniting.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that you guys would like to share in terms of the hopes that you have for this work that you do?
You hope that it brings joy to the
Mm-hmm.
people. Obviously, we don't meet the people. In Heather's case, or in my case, we would never meet the people. They'll not know who did the bag or the box for them. But hopefully it does give them some joy that someone out there cares.
My hope is that for the children in need, and it's not only the children, it's also for the parents of those children, reaching them with God's amazing love, with the joy of the gift, and then the follow-up of the hope of the gospel message that's offered to them after they receive the boxes. So for me, joy is an emotion of great delight, and it's caused by something that is good or satisfying, something that's greatly valued or appreciated. And it gives a purpose of hope to those children and to those families that are receiving the gifts.
Thank you. So, hence, if you've read that, as I see it today too, joy and hope seem to go together quite a bit, don't they? All right. Thank you very much for sharing your stories, guys. Thank you. And now for your favourite part, craft. You're right. So in your little goodies box, there is an unfinished bookmark. Now let me find mine. We are going to test your threading skills. It will end up looking like this. So you should have an extra piece of twine or I'm not sure what you even call it. Ribbon. Okay. And there are instructions on the board. You start from the back, so every second move will be behind, and it'll alternate behind and visible. We are going to play some music. Enjoy. If you're really in trouble, maybe stick your hand up and a couple of us might be able to come and help. I haven't actually done one yet. This was one Kylie prepared earlier for me. I'm sorry for the people watching on YouTube. You can't have a go, or you could make something like it and give it a go at home. So I'll give you a few minutes to thread up your star. Little scout. How are you going? Do you need a bit more time? Okay. We have another musical interlude prepared. How are your fine motor skills? Are the instructions helping? Oh. Thanks, Lee. Just acknowledge those that give some money. Acknowledge the offering. Is that all right?
did one.
Oh. Paul's done it. How did we go? No? Okay. I'd love to give you more time. We've got a few that look great. Awesome. You can take them home and keep extending the joy at home. It'll be available on YouTube later tonight. So you can get the instructions back. All right. Okay. I'm aware that we're needing to move along with time. I'm going to kind of move quickly through a time of prayer. I'm not actually going to do it, but I'm going to tell you how we were going to do it. We were going to use the words J-O-Y for it to lead us in silent prayer today. So maybe you can do this if you have a moment later. The J stands for Jesus. So that was going to be our time of adoration and praise. The O was for others. So having a prayerful time for others. And then the Y, of course, was for yourself, if there are prayers for yourself. So maybe you can pray that way using the letters J-O-Y for prayer at a later time, but we need to move on for time today. I would like to just acknowledge that there are people that are presenting gifts of money and gifts of food for the work of the people of God in churches and in agencies. And with these material gifts, they're offering their energy, time and hope that all can face the future with hope. And I acknowledge those and give thanks to those in the name of Jesus. Amen. Faith in action. If there's anybody that has something to share, faith in action, now's your time to come up. Do you want to actually stand behind that one, then I don't have to clean it.
We've all heard how much effort has gone in to today, how much effort is being put in for the Nativity play. Next Sunday is the Nativity play, and a reward for all that effort would be to see this church full, both for the morning service and the afternoon service at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. There will be nothing more enjoyable for the kids, I think, to look out from this stage and see a full church. If you want to come, you want to invite your neighbours, your friends, please fill in the little forms at the back of the church so that we know how many people are going to come in the morning and in the afternoon. Following on from the week after that, on the Saturday, the Launceston Music Society, there is a poster in the walkway, will be performing some Christmas music. They have had input into the Nativity play as well, and we have kindly let them have this church free of charge. And they would say that they would look at the profits and then perhaps give us a donation. So it's a double-edged sword, as you might say. And on that Sunday will be our carol service. So it'll give us an immense amount of joy to see this church full next week and the week after. Thank you.
Hello. This week I received an email from Jeff McKinnon, who's the minister at City Baptist Church. He is looking for urgent board in the Greater Launceston area for a Hazara man with strong English. The board would need to be for about 2 months. I have information about how much the person can pay and food and that kind of thing. If you have space or you know anybody who might have space, feel free to come and grab me at the end of the service for more information. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Lee. My family and I are blessed to consider the Fords some of our best friends, and so they've arranged for me to come here today and speak with you. They also roped us into the nativity play a couple of years ago, and we're having a ball of a time. But today I'm here to talk to you about Tear Fund. One of the things that give me joy at Christmas time, and one of my traditions, is to go around a couple of different churches, including my own, and talk about Tear. Here, Izzy. You hold that up so that everybody can see that. You hold that. Tear Fund is an alternative way of gift giving. You'll find a list of gifts that you can give on some of the chairs around the place, and so you can have a look at that. I've also got the full catalogue, which gives you a bit of information about all the different individual gifts that you can buy. And I know it looks a bit odd, you can buy chickens. Who are you going to give chickens to? Well, unfortunately, you don't actually get the chickens to take home. What you get is this lovely little card that then you can give to a loved one or a friend. And the chickens themselves actually go to a person in a developing country. From those chickens, they can get the eggs, which is good for their own health and nutrition. They can sell the extra eggs, and so they get a little bit of money so they can buy some fruit and veggies to go with their protein. And then they also can raise new chickens and sell off the chickens to other people. So that's Tear. So I've got a little stall out the back. If you're interested, please come and see me. Thank you, sweetheart. I can take cash payments, I can take credit card payments, and I can even take an old-fashioned cheque. So thank you very much. I'm really pleased to be here. Thank you.
I just want to very briefly say thank you for the food that's come under the Christmas tree today and last week, and let you know that in previous years we have divvied up all of the food that we've been given at Christmas time and sent a hamper home with every client, and for the past 2 years we've got to the end of January, school holidays, kids at home, and families are struggling. So this year we are making hampers only for our clients who are having financial need, and the rest is going in a pantry. So similar to what Pilgrim has here, just letting you know that your generosity is very appreciated at this time of year, and also very welcomed at any time of the year. You can contact me anytime, and I'm more than happy to receive groceries. But just really wanted to assure you that not all of our families are doing as tough as they have in previous years this year as a result of COVID supplement. And so we are trying to be better stewards of the generosity that comes in to make sure that we can manage the need when the need arises, which isn't always at Christmas time. But thank you for your generosity at this time.
And very briefly, one last message about the nativity play. We're not quite full, so if you want to make a last-minute decision to come, feel free to do so. If you want to make a last-minute decision to change whether you're coming to the morning or the afternoon, feel free to do so. And hold funds for the last 2 rehearsals.
Okay, I'm sorry, we have gone longer than I was expecting. We have one more story, and this one is a rather visually spectacular one. This is an international story. Thank you to Mohan and Geetha. Mohan's church in India has a visually spectacular and rather hazardous, if I must admit, tradition that is quite unique. I have used his words in the film clip that you'll see, and I'll read his words now. He says, "In India, Christmas is seen as a festival of joy and hope. It is a time of homecoming, and family members plan to be home with their loved ones. Centuries of British rule has fashioned the celebrations to be like that of the West. Christmas cards, Christmas presents, carol singing, and Christmas lunch add colour to the festivities." And then his church does this on Christmas Eve.
In our church in my hometown, Kottayam, in India, there is a unique practice that has been followed for the past 85 years. A huge hot air balloon is crafted by the youth of the church out of butter paper and tracing paper. It is a Herculean task to produce a balloon of 5 metre height, 3 metre diameter at the middle, tapering down to 3/4 of a metre at the end, fixed on to a round aluminium frame. A compressed ball of cotton at the centre of the frame is ignited to generate hot air that would give sufficient lift to ascend 400 metres. The burning cotton ball would ensure that the balloon is charged with sufficiently hot air for about 45 minutes, and the cool air outside prevents the paper from catching fire. The balloon would come down when the cotton is completely burned off. The whole process must be done with the utmost care, as even a pinprick would render the balloon useless. As a matter of practice, they make 3 balloons and select the best after testing for airtightness and symmetry of shape. The balloon is lifted off after the carol service on the Christmas Eve when the congregation gathers in the spacious church lawn. The air would be cool and there would be a slight breeze. When the balloon rises high and is visible only as a star in the sky, everyone leaves for home with a bright spark lit in their hearts.
So let us go sensitive to the reality of life in a world that has sorrow, but open to the full experience of joy because of what God has done and is doing in us and through us. And let's share that joy with those we meet. Thank you.